You are the most advanced creature on Earth. 4 billion years of evolution, all of it leading up to you. And you can choke to death on a sip of water. Because somewhere in your throat, the tube for food and the tube for air cross paths, like a highway interchange designed by someone who had never seen a car. Your body is not a masterpiece. It's a hand-me-down. And it is held together with duct tape. Think about that for a second. To eat and to breathe, everything you swallow goes down the same narrow hallway. One wrong gulp, and a crumb takes the air exit instead of the food exit. And suddenly you're on the floor, and a stranger is doing the Heimlich on you next to the breadsticks. No other piece of advanced design kills this many people by accident at dinner. And it isn't just your throat. Your back gives out reaching for a sock. Your teeth don't fit your own jaw. You get goosebumps over fur you don't have. You hiccup for no reason whatsoever. If a phone shipped with this many bugs, you would return it and leave a 1-star review. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Evolution is not an engineer. An engineer starts with a clean blank page. Evolution never, ever gets a clean page. It can only tinker with whatever the last animal already had. A fish becomes an amphibian, becomes an early mammal, becomes an ape, becomes you. Each one just renovates the previous tenant's house. Nobody is ever allowed to knock it down and start over. So, you are not the peak of design. You are the most recent renovation of a fish. And every shortcut, every leftover, every good enough your ancestors got away with, you inherited all of it. You want proof there was never a designer? Let me show you the single dumbest wire in your body. Meet the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Its job could not be simpler. Carry the signal from your brain down to your voice box, your larynx, sitting right here in your neck. It heads down from the brain, and the moment it reaches the larynx, it could just connect. A clean, short hop. Done? It does not. Instead, it leaves the brain, runs all the way down your neck, sails right past the voice box, dives down into your chest, loops underneath a big artery next to your heart, and then turns around and climbs all the way back up to the voice box it already passed on the way down. A connection that should take a couple of centimeters, turned into a round trip through your chest. No engineer on Earth would sign off on this. So why? Because in fish, our distant ancestors, that nerve ran in a tidy straight line, past the gills. There was no neck yet. Then, necks stretched out, the heart sank down into the chest, and the nerve got hooked underneath on the way. Evolution could not lift it free and reroute it. It could only stretch it longer and longer, generation after generation. In you, that detour costs a few wasted inches. In a giraffe, the exact same nerve takes a 4-meter round trip, all the way down that enormous neck and back up to travel a few centimeters. The biologist Richard Dawkins called it one of the best proofs we have that life was never designed. It was inherited. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Your entire body is a museum of leftovers. So let's take the tour. Exhibit 1, your back. For 400 million years, the spine was a horizontal beam, a suspension bridge slung between 4 legs. At that job, it was beautiful. Then we stood up. We took that horizontal bridge, tipped it 90 degrees on its end, and balanced the entire weight of a human being on the bottom couple of discs. Which is why almost every adult you know will eventually throw out their back, reaching for a sock. Roughly 80% of people get back pain. You are not unlucky. You are standing upright on a spine that was built to lie down. Exhibit 2, your mouth. You have 4 teeth that do not fit. Wisdom teeth. We surgically yank them out by the millions every year. They fit our ancestors perfectly because they had bigger jaws, because they chewed raw, tough food for hours a day. Then we learned to cook. Cooked food is soft. Over generations, the jaw quietly shrank to save the effort, and absolutely nobody told the teeth. So they still try to come in, sideways, into a jaw that already closed for business. And if you think a sideways tooth is strange, the next one is hiding a 400-million-year-old secret. Why do you hiccup? A hiccup is a sudden, useless gulp of air, snapped shut by your throat. It does nothing for you. It only annoys you. So, why is it wired so deep that a newborn does it? The best explanation we have is that it's an echo. The same nerve and muscle pattern that fires your hiccup looks just like the one that lets a tadpole pump water across its gills. You do not have gills. You may have inherited the controls for them anyway. Every hiccup, a fish twitching inside you. Exhibit 4. Goosebumps. You get cold or scared, and tiny muscles yank on your body hairs to stand them up, which would puff you up bigger and warmer. If you still had a coat of fur, you don't. So you just go bumpy, for nothing. A reflex for a jacket you lost a million years ago. Exhibit 5 is happening in your eyes right now. Your retina is installed backwards. The wiring sits in front of the light sensors, and every one of those wires has to punch back through the retina to escape, which leaves a hole, a blind spot, a literal gap in your vision that your brain quietly paints over so you never even notice it's there. An octopus, by the way, has its retina wired the right way round. No blind spot. The octopus got the better eye. Sit with that for a moment. And I have saved the worst flaw for last, because this one was never just annoying. For almost all of human history, this one was deadly. We grew enormous brains. To fit them, our babies need huge heads. But we also walk upright, and a pelvis built for walking has to be narrow. A wide pelvis walks badly. A narrow one gives birth badly. You cannot have both. So evolution split the difference, and human birth became one of the most dangerous things a body can do. In 1960, the anthropologist Sherwood Washburn gave it a name: the obstetrical dilemma. A giant head, a narrow gap, and a baby that has to corkscrew its way through. Every single human who has ever lived got here by squeezing a too big head through a too small space. Your mother did that, so did hers, all the way back down the line. So, yeah, your body is badly designed. The throat that chokes you, the back that fails, the teeth that don't fit, the hiccups, the blind spot, the dangerous birth. All real, all clumsy, all true. But here is the turn. Every one of those flaws is a story, not a mistake, a memory. Your hiccup is the fish you used to be. Your goosebumps are the fur you used to wear. Your aching back is the morning your ancestors first stood up and looked out over the tall grass. The senseless detour in your nerve is 400 million years of life, refusing every single generation to start over. You are not a finished product. You are the latest draft of a story that has been written and rewritten in living bodies for 4 billion years, without one single break in the chain. Every compromise you carry is the receipt for survival. Proof that every ancestor you have ever had, all the way down to that fish, lived long enough to hand the story on. That ache in your back is not a defect. It's an inheritance. It is, quite literally, the cost of being alive at all. You're not badly designed. You are a living museum of everything we used to be. That's you, the most advanced animal on Earth, and still somehow a little bit fish. So the next time you choke on a glass of water, or your back goes out reaching for a sock, or you hiccup in a dead silent room, don't be annoyed. That's 4 billion years of ancestors saying hello. Every last one of them survived long enough to hand you this gloriously, ridiculously imperfect body. It was never built. It was inherited, bugs and all. And if you want to know which ancestor we should really thank or blame for the fur you lost and the goosebumps you kept, that's a story for next time.